Are we recording? Oh, look at that, we're recording. Hi, Lightlings. Welcome back. Sorry I didn't post anything last week. I was very sick and you wouldn't have wanted to, be around me. I know it's a video, but still, it just sounds right to say. So I did kind of end abruptly last time with my funeral etiquette. I did say I was going to talk about cemetery etiquette, so I do want to talk about that. Today I'm going to try to be brief. I will revisit all of this and get more specific about certain points. One thing I do want to start with is every cemetery is different. They usually have their rules somewhere on grounds. General rules like we're closed at dusk from dusk till dawn. Only so many people can park in certain areas, things like that. No glass faces, none of that. But they will have their full rules when you purchase property. They will give you your full set of rules. So pay attention to that packet they give you. Don't act surprised when you go and the cemetery staff is like, you're not supposed to do that. And you're like, I can do whatever I want. I bought this. Well, no, you can't. You have to. It's like almost like an HOA. You have to follow the rules. With that said, when you have cemetery and you're doing a funeral, there are, again, as I mentioned previously, things that you will have to purchase. Keep in mind, if you're going to have a burial, of course you have to purchase the plot. You're going to have to purchase some sort of liner, a concrete liner or a vault, and of course the casket and a headstone. Anything additional that you want to put on it, you could add vases, you could have benches, the sky's the limit for things that you could put on as a headstone or use for, decoration around. There have been people that had benches at the feet and had this big beautiful headstone for a plot for two people. And anyway, I digress. So keep in mind, you would have to pay for certain things, an open and close fee. They do use these big giant machines that digga and get all the dirt out, especially here in Florida. It's too hot for us to hand dig everything. Although they do sometimes do that. Keep in mind the area that you're going to be choosing your plot. It can be pricier depending upon where you're going to be placing your loved one. If it's by some sort of tree garden or something, then, sorry, I have bugs bothering me. If it's by some sort of garden or something, of course it's going to cost a little bit more. Or estates or something. Mausoleums, again, if you're going to put your loved one in a mausoleum, you are more than likely going to have to embalm them. You're going to have to purchase a casket. You're going to have to purchase the plate for the front so you can make it look nice. And on a mausoleum wall, you're only really allowed to do so much. And wind. I love it. Let's see, cremation, like if you're going to do like a niche or a columbarium, again, you don't have to purchase anything but that space in the wall. You just make sure your urn's big enough, and you don't have to purchase the urn again through the funeral home. And also, if you're going to do like an above ground crypt, like not a mausoleum but a private crypt, like a family mausoleum, I guess you could call them, those are of course going to cost a lot. I mean, sometimes they run in the $2 million range. It's really whatever you feel like spending on your family for what we consider the afterlife. Death. The beginning of death. I'm not really sure what happens then, but that doesn't pertain to this video. So, to the cemetery etiquette. Of course, if you're going to a funeral, most of the time, a funeral will happen prior to the cemetery visit. Most of the time, you'll go to a church, you'll have the funeral, you'll all be dressed up like you were going to church, you'll go to the cemetery afterwards. Is it proper to say no? Yes. If you are not close to the decedent or the loved one, or if you are not close to the family per se. Like if they're just like a cousin that is twice removed of somebody you married that you haven't been married to, it depends how close you are. Use your discretion. Family members really do appreciate when you go to the cemetery because they really want their loved one to feel loved. They want to feel that their loved one was loved. And so it's always a nice gesture. If you can't make it, you can't make it. That's okay too. Generally, after they go to the cemetery, there will be a luncheon of some sort. They call it a repass or a repast, or just a luncheon, a gathering. They don't always, use the proper terms because oftentimes we don't really remember them in the time that we need to use them. So, of course, what should you wear if you go to one of these? You should, be cognizant. If you're gonna go to the cemetery, be aware there's probably gonna be grass you're gonna be walking on. Just keep that in mind. You're going to be standing in the grass, you're going to be walking in the grass. It's probably a good idea to get those little heel things that you put on the back of your heels so you can walk easier. They're like I have some. I should have probably pulled them out before I did this video, but you attach them to your high heels, and they're like this little round little base, and you can walk around and not sink in the ground. Or just wear nice shoes, like flats. Sandals are okay as long as you have painted toenails. Look appropriate, look nice. Of course, in Florida, there's a lot of heat, so chances are wearing a suit is probably not a good idea for the cemetery unless the family asks you specifically to do so. Funeral directors wear suits all the time. It's what we're trained to do. We do this. We stand in the background. We watch at the cemetery, especially when it's hot. Who's gonna start to pass out? Who needs to have a drink? We have our team set up and we're watching everybody. We're not just standing there doing nothing. It looks like it, but we're not. We're preparing. We're thinking about what's the next step. Who are we gonna talk to? When is the minister going to be finished? So we go up and we finish. When do we have to call the team to finish the digging, add the vault lid, all this stuff? There's a lot to it behind the scenes, but just, be aware that there are people watching. So, don't be afraid to go up to one of the staff and ask for help if you need it. If you need a drink of water and they haven't passed out the water, it's okay to ask. Just don't go up to the cooler and start dishing them out like you own the place. That's kind of rude. Usually we make sure the water goes to the immediate family first, and then we will dish it out. So, yes, there are circumstances that it's needed right away, but there's only so much that you could do, especially if it's really, really hot. And it's really up to the cemetery too. Some cemeteries do not bring water. So that's something you need to think of too. You might want to bring your own, especially if you're in a hot state. What's another thing? Don't be afraid to sit. If they invite you to sit and there's plenty of chairs, go ahead and have a seat. It's okay. They wouldn't invite you to sit down if they didn't think that you needed it or if they didn't feel that it was appropriate. It's okay to do that. I have so many things in my head, but they're just not coming out at the right time. Dressing in a sundress or something is acceptable. Again, no cut-ups. Keep it clean. Wear nice slacks or nice shorts. Cargo shorts are really, really iffy. If you're gonna wear sandals, don't wear socks. But you will be walking in grass, so chances are there's gonna be fire ants. There's tons of them down in Florida, so it's probably a good idea to make sure you actually have closed-toed shoes when you go. That way, in case you stub your toe or something, because not that you're not seeing where you're going, but anything can happen. Generally speaking, when you're leaving the funeral home on the way to the cemetery, there will be a procession, unless the family requested not to. But there will be a procession, and when you go and you follow this procession, make sure if they give you a flag, if they give you a sign, make sure you put it on your car. Make sure to return it too afterwards. Also, turn on your blinkers so that way the police will know who's in line and who they need to let through and who they can just bypass. Those are usually told to people at the church or wherever they are for the funeral service, so that way you'll know then. Pallbearers, again, that's another thing. Sometimes they're not requested, sometimes you are just randomly asked. If you feel you can do it, do it. If you have a bad back, if you have any sort of issue that you could lose that casket, don't offer. It's While there are 6 of them, generally speaking, there is a funeral worker in the front, a funeral worker in the back, and then the funeral director is watching and making sure, and we grab if we have to. But I've only seen it once where we almost lost the casket, but it was somebody who thought they could do it and they really couldn't, and they just kind of stopped halfway, and then we had to jump in at the last minute, and it was saved. There was nothing bad. It didn't look bad, but it was just one of those things that had we not been watching and paying attention, it could have been very bad. Again, keep in mind that funeral staff is watching everything. We pay attention. Let's see. Oh, eat. I don't care if you're not hungry. I'm sorry. I have seen so many people pass out because they just didn't eat because they didn't feel good. Take your medicine. So many people, I've had to call an ambulance on people because they didn't remember to take their medicine. It is super, super important that you do these things. Take care of yourself, because this is a difficult time and it's not going to be better if you forget. It's not going to make things better. The rest of the family is going to be worried about somebody else now, and that's not good for anybody, especially you, especially for the person who has to get hauled off in the ambulance and misses out on the funeral, which we can postpone a funeral if we need to. There have been many instances with hurricanes. Keep that in mind. In the state of Florida, they happen. And when they happen, you have to be ready. Don't expect just that we're going to do a funeral. The hurricane's coming on Thursday and you want to do the funeral Wednesday night. It's not going to happen. You got to give your staff, you got to give your funeral home people that work there, you've got to give them time to prepare for their loved ones, and if they're going to evacuate too. That's not fair to them to make them have to stay. We understand it is a very, very important moment in your life, but you also have to understand that it could be unsafe for everybody, and you don't want that to happen. So that is the call of the funeral directors or their bosses to decide if a funeral goes on or not. And generally speaking, they will not if there's a hurricane a-coming. You might get the day before ish, but chances are you won't. It won't happen until after, and then we have to assess the damage, and then we will call and let you know, hey, we could do the service now. What about this day? It doesn't seem fair. Weather is what it is. We can't make it work all the time. If we're gonna do an urn burial, chances are they will hand dig those, and there will be a vault for that, which you do have to purchase here, and you could place the urn in the vault. Sometimes the family can place the urn, sometimes they don't want to, and that's okay. It's not required. It's an option we give. At the closing of any grave side, any service, anything like that, we certainly can have everybody throw a flower from the casket spray or the urn display, whatever. into the outer burial container. I will just use that as a general term. If you wish. It's not required again, but it is a nice little sentiment, and many families like to do it. They saw it in a movie once, and they're like, well, they do it in movies, and we're like, it's never been done before except for in movies. So we just go with the flow. Funeral directors will do that, and now it's become a norm, and it's kind of expected. So if people don't get the flowers, don't be upset if you don't get a flower, because it may be something the family wanted. If you're at a cemetery and you happen to see military personnel walking around, any cemetery, you're going to see them, of course, in a national cemetery, be aware there may be another funeral that is going to have a 21 gun salute, or at least play taps. So it will interfere with your funeral as well. It's not intended, it's not trying to be mean, but it has happened in the past. And if you hear the guns go off, please don't scream, because it is scary, but pay attention and be aware that it's going to happen, and don't scare the other family because you hear gunshots going off. They're just blanks. They're just shooting them because that's just what they do. That's part of the honor of being in the military and getting that 21 gun salute. Let's see, what else? I said to eat. Oh, mausoleum. You can't really put flowers in a mausoleum at the end. You don't have to stay to watch the door, I guess is what I'm going to call it, the door panel go on. You don't have to. You're welcome to. Actually, I can't even say most. It's always 50-50. Like, it wasn't always like, oh yeah, I want to see it every single one. There's some of them were like, nah, I don't need this. Some of them are like, I'm hungry, I'm out. It's all what the family wants. So, expect to do what they do if you do go to the cemetery. If you do have to leave early, let them know and tell them, hey, I gotta go early, and don't interrupt the service by going up in front of everybody and kissing and hugging them and saying goodbye. Just politely excuse yourself beforehand, and probably not during the procession when they're bringing the casket up, but I would probably do that when you're leaving the church. Maybe catch up with them and say, hey, I'm not going to make it, or I have to leave early. Just if you don't see me, I won't be there when it's over, that kind of thing. Because people sometimes come and show their respects when they're at work, like the nursing staff or hospice staff or hospital. It just nursing home, they come a lot, and that's such a wonderful thing for the families to have that closure, and they also get to have that closure because they take care of your loved ones. Let's see, what other things can I talk about cemetery? Generally speaking, you have to ask the cemetery itself, but there are no glass spaces that are to be brought to a cemetery. Sometimes they allow them. That's up to the cemetery. No, not too many lights, not all that fancy schmancy stuff. It all depends on the cemetery, so go ahead and be aware. A private cemetery will probably give you more leeway. They will probably also allow you to have more flowers on the graveside. If you go to a national cemetery, which they're beautiful services, they're amazing, you're only allowed 3 flowers. So when the funeral director tells you that, don't be sad, don't be upset. You do have to take the flowers with, or find somewhere that you want them to go. Many times the funeral homes will offer them to hospice houses or nursing homes, and they have people or staff that they put the flowers in vases and they give them to people in their rooms, because it kind of brightens things up, and people at hospice houses love them, as long as they're not the stand-up sprays, as long as they're just like in vases or something like that. Let's see, what else? I think that's about it. I'm sure I'm missing a heck of a lot. But again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will do my best to look at everything when I'm not sick. Thank you for watching me. I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to do these outside. I appreciate being able to share my knowledge with people, which I know I'm going to think of something after I'm finished with this. So I'm going to be so mad at myself. Why didn't I say that? But I will come back to it, just like the funeral stuff. And yeah, that's, oh, one more thing. Speaking of funeral processions, which I wasn't, but back to that, if you are driving and you are not part of the funeral procession, don't cut in line. Don't act like you're part of it just so you get through. If you see them coming towards you, pull over, be polite. It's a gesture that means mountains if you do that. Up north, most people do that because it's the right thing to do. And I think I remember learning that when I was learning how to drive. But down here, people don't understand what that is, and they will just zip right by a funeral like it's no big deal. So it's just be respectful and understand that if it was you in that situation, it wouldn't be pretty, and you probably wouldn't appreciate that. But anyway, again, thank you for watching. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble on and on and on. I'm going to work on making these videos better. I'm just, new at this and just trying to do it. So I love you, my lightlings. May love and light and peace always be with you. Mwah, mwah. And we'll see you on the flip side.